Good morning. Is that better? Third time's the charm. All right. Hey, guys, we are so happy to be here today. This is the Max Singers, and what a great bunch of students. We are more than a choir. We're a family. We're a team, and we are getting ready to do a concert called Glow. And so this is one of our selections from that set of songs. It's going to be here October the 3rd, if you'd like to come. It's a Friday night. But we'd like you to be inspired by this beautiful song. It's original text about finding the light in the darkness, and it's set with great spirit and intensity to represent the struggles that we sometimes face in life. But together in the search of truth, we will find the light. And you will hear the Latin phrase, lux in terna bri, which comes from the Gospel of John, specifically which translates to, and the light shines in the darkness, symbolizing hope, truth, and guidance, particularly in those challenging or negative times. May the powerful lyrics encourage us all. It says, on this open road, the moon and stars to guide me, and my heavy load made lighter by the wind against my back. And with my friend, I journey on.
Journey on to the light, moving toward illumination. Roots and breeze, looks intended breeze. On this open road, the moon and stars to guide me, and my heavy load laid lighter by the wind against my back. And with my friend, I journey on. Winds of change, sands of time, searching truth, realize and serene. Hearts the
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Constitution Day celebration. My name is Colton Atkinson. I am the Student Government Association sponsor here at MAC, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the MAC campus and to our Constitution Day celebration. Join me, please, once again, in thanking the MAC Singers for opening our ceremony. Today, we gather to honor the foundation of our nation's government and the principles that have guided us for nearly 240 years. On September 17th, 1787, the framers signed the Constitution, creating the architecture for democracy that has stood the test of time. But the journey to that moment was far from simple, and it was far from easy. Over the sweltering summer of 1787, 55 delegates from 12 states convened in Philadelphia for the Constitutional Convention, led by names you know from history: Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Franklin. They engaged in intense debates and crafted crucial compromises. They argued, they fought, they yelled, but despite their differences, and their differences were many, they emerged with a revolutionary frame of government. The convention faced many challenges. Balancing the interests of large and small states, they grappled with difficult issues, including how to divide the powers of government, which was a challenging question at the time. They struggled with what to do with the institution of slavery. In that struggle to define our sovereignty, we can see the differences and the difficulties that we face today in 2025. The same issues that they dealt with are reflected in our own society today. The same anxieties, the same hopes, the same fundamental questions about the nature of democracy and equality. Just as the framers wrestled with the complexities of their time, we too face the challenges of applying constitutional principles to our modern issues. Their legacy of debate, compromise, and progress continues to inspire us as we address the complexities of our own era, reminding us that the work to create our more perfect union is never really finished. This living document, crafted by shared vision and perseverance, continues to guide our society today, protecting our rights and defining our responsibilities as citizens. As we celebrate today, let's reflect on the enduring power of the Constitution and the complex process that brought it into being. Let us recommit ourselves to the ideas of justice, liberty, and equality for all, while acknowledging that there is still work to be done. Thank you again for joining us all here today. I am thrilled that Sheriff Jeff Kreitz has joined us today as a third-generation law enforcement officer with 35 years of dedicated service to the city of Farmington. Sheriff Kreitz brings a wealth of experience and a deep commitment to our community. Sworn into office of St. Francis County just last December, he represents the very best of public service, someone who, along with his family, has made community engagement has made a cornerstone of his life. This event represents exactly what Constitution Day should be: open dialogue, mutual understanding, civic engagement. We're here to learn from one another, ask important questions, and strengthen the trust between our communities, our college, and those who have sworn to protect and serve. Before I hand the podium over to Sheriff Kreitz, a quick word on formatting. Today's program is designed to be interactive and informative. We'll begin with Sheriff Kreitz sharing insights about departmental policies and procedures and whatever else he would like to talk about. Then we'll open the floor to your questions. And I encourage you to ask thoughtful questions, whether you're curious about your constitutional rights during police encounters, interested in community policing initiatives, or you just want to know how to best behave at a traffic stop. And this is your chance to get accurate firsthand information. We're also here to address common misconceptions about policing. We are bombarded daily by TV and movies and social media's portrayal of law enforcement, and now is your chance to ask any questions that you would like answered. We'll close today with refreshments and continued conversation, and please allow me to join me in welcoming Sheriff Kreitz.
Well, good morning, and thank you for that great introduction for me. As he said, my name is Jeff Kreitz, and I am your St. Francis County Sheriff. And while I take great pride in wearing this badge and serving the community, I want to start by saying the most important job isn't being sheriff. It's being Corbin's dad. Does everybody know Corbin? That's the role that keeps me grounded, keeps me focused, keeps me reminded every day of what truly matters: protecting our families, our freedoms, and our future. So let me talk briefly, if I can, a little bit about the office of the sheriff. In Missouri, we have 115 sheriffs. We have 114 counties. Does anybody know why we have one extra sheriff? Shout it out. Anybody? You are correct. St. Louis is a city without a county, but it does have a sheriff. So there are 114 or 115 of us. The sheriff is elected by the people. He's not appointed by a mayor, a board, commissioners, or bureaucrats. And that matters. Because when you elect a sheriff, you're choosing someone who answers to you, not to politics, not to pressure, but to principle. There's an entire chapter in the Missouri Revised Statutes on the office of the sheriff. It's chapter 57. So I know in your free time, when you don't have to write reports or have tests or essays or any of that stuff, you can look that up, chapter 57. But the word sheriff appears over 554 times. That's not on coincidence. It's a reflection of the weight and responsibility this office carries. So you might want to know, what are some of the core responsibilities or duties of the sheriff? Well, as your sheriff, I'm the chief law enforcement officer of the county. I'm tasked with, and the one that you probably see the most is out in the public, is the law enforcement side of it. So I'm in charge of quelling disturbances, apprehending felons such as assaults, riots, and insurrections, also executing legal processes directed by the courts, including writs and attachments, warrants. I'm in charge of civil process. That's the service of civil documents, court orders, and legal processes, including the sale of property and the execution of evictions. I'm in charge of the detention center and have administrative duties, overseeing the operations of the sheriff's office and jail, managing department personnel, developing policies, and coordinating with other government entities for the safety of the community. Courthouse security is another avenue I'm responsible for. That's providing courtroom security, ensuring the safety of the judicial officers, the attorneys, and the public. And most importantly, engaging with you, the community, is one of my responsibilities. So I took a constitutional oath, and when I took office, I swore an oath that I would uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. That oath was not symbolic. It's sacred. And I apologize, I have sinus problems right now. The Constitution isn't just a piece of paper, it's a living promise. I think Colton said that. But let's start with the basics. The Constitution was signed in 1787. That's 238 years ago. Coach Mistral, were you around then? He was my middle school football coach, so I can tease him. But laid the framework for our government, but it wasn't perfect. That's why the first 10 amendments or the Bill of Rights were added in 1791. Those Bill of Rights are the reasons you can speak your mind, you can worship freely, defend your home, and demand fairness. So let's take a look at a few of those key rights. Your First Amendment right. You have the right to speak freely, to worship or not to worship as you choose, to publish your ideas and gather peacefully, just like we are here today. That means your voice matters and your ideas matter. The Second Amendment, and that's kind of a hot button right now with everything that's going on in our nation, but law-abiding citizens have the right to keep and bear arms. This right is not just a line on our founding papers, it's the cornerstone of our freedom, our security, and our way of life. It's not negotiable, it's foundational. And let me be clear, I stand firmly in support of the Second Amendment. In Missouri, sheriffs are responsible for issuing concealed carry permits, and I take that duty seriously. My office works every day to protect responsible gun ownership while keeping our communities safe from those who would abuse those rights. I believe the right of citizens to defend themselves, their families, and their property. I also believe in education, training, and accountability, because freedom without responsibility is chaos, but freedom with responsibility is strength. The Fourth Amendment, you have the right to privacy. The government can't search your home, your phone, or your car without good reason and a warrant. And in this digital age, this is more relevant than ever. So that's no unlawful searches, and it avoids government overreach. The Fifth and Sixth Amendments, if you are accused of a crime, you have the right to remain silent. You have a right to a fair trial. You have the right to an attorney and to know the charges against you. And last, I'm going to mention the 14th Amendment. This one guarantees equal protection under the law for every citizen, no matter your race, gender, background, or beliefs. You are entitled to fairness. But here's the truth, folks. Rights only work if you know them. If you don't use your rights, you risk losing them. If you don't speak up, others will speak for you. So, as your sheriff, I challenge you, know your rights. Use your voice, get involved. Whether you're a student, a parent, a veteran, a business owner, your rights are your power. The Constitution doesn't belong to Washington, it belongs to you. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your support. Thank you for standing with me in defense of our families, our freedoms, and our future. God bless you, and may God bless St. Francis County.
Now we'd like to open this up for Q&A, just a little bit of questions. Sheriff Kreitz has volunteered his time to basically answer any questions that may be relating to your rights as individuals, and also how to interact, what the proper interactions with law enforcement is. So if you have any questions you would like to ask, that would be a great time to feel free to pose any questions.
Perfect. Oh. Yes, sir.
I'll start the conversation. I'm sure nobody in this room has ever been pulled over for speeding. Certainly not me on the way to campus. But what I was taught when I was a younger driver is that if you were pulled over, you have your music off, you have the window down, you have your hands on the steering wheel so that law enforcement can come and know and feel secure in themselves that this is a situation that the driver's being responsible. Would you give that advice, or would you offer different advice?
Well, I'm going to put a little plug out there.
Yeah.
If you're real nice, I have a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation called What to Do When You're Stopped by the Police. And you're right on the money. We were talking about this earlier. When you're stopped by the police, let's just, without calling anybody out, how many times has anybody been stopped more than 5 times? Oh boy. Okay, so majority has been less than 5 times, it looks like. There's a few of you wild ones out there. So it doesn't happen very often in your driving career. So we call that low frequency. It doesn't happen very often. But for law enforcement, it's high frequency because we deal with traffic stops every day, all the time. So to us, it's kind of, you hate to say routine, but that's kind of the way it is. So we know you're going to be nervous. We know you're going to be fiddling around. What do? I don't remember what I was taught when I started driving. So we understand that and we take that into consideration. But yes, you are correct. No quick movements. Missouri law says that you will pull to the right and stop immediately. So that kind of lets us know, are we in a pursuit? Are they avoiding us? Whatever. But wherever it's safe, you pull to the right and you stop until that officer may go by. He may be getting the car in front of you. So hands on the steering wheel where we can see them. The hands will kill you. As long as we can see the hands, we know where they're at, we know what's going on. The officer, every officer is going to be different. The way I like to do it is explain who I am and why I'm stopping you. The road is no place to be, so we don't want to hold court on the side of the road and argue. So I'm going to tell you I stopped you for speeding. I may ask you if there's a reason for that speed, and I'm going to ask you for 3 things: your driver's license, your proof of insurance, and your registration. That's what's required by Missouri law. The officer then will make a determination what he's going to do, if it's a citation needs to be issued or a warning, or just education. Hey, you're going too fast, this is a dangerous section of road, we want you to be safe, and they educate you, and then they send you on your way. Usually it shouldn't take more than 5-10 minutes. They may run a license check on you, and then you're free to go. So we know it's a stressful event, and we, like I said, we take that into consideration, but you're right on the money with that.
I'll tell my dad and grandpa that they were right, because Sheriff Craig said so.
Oh, okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
So this is more of a society question. So homelessness in St. Francis County seems to be on the increase. What is your role, responsibility for, I guess, that societal issue that we face?
Well, and that's, I think you hit that there on the head. It's a societal issue. It's going to take everybody's input. Clergy, mayors, law enforcement, the mental health and the substance abuse side of it. It's kind of fallen on, who do you call when you have a problem? You know, when you have a fire, you call the fire department. If you have a medical emergency, you call the ambulance. If you don't know, you call law enforcement. And I don't think we're equipped to handle all that. It's going to take the whole community. I'm willing to sit down with community leaders and work this out. A lot of the homelessness we're seeing are at this time are mainly in the municipalities, and that kind of falls on the local government. But yeah, we're willing to sit down and get together, get everybody's input, because it's going to take a little bit from everybody. It's just not one entity that can handle it all.
Sheriff Crichton, we're in the business of education here, and I was wondering if you could share a little bit about the education program. I noticed there were some graduates on Facebook lately that you've been working with.
Oh, okay.
Could you share a little
That's
bit about
the RSAT program, Residential Substance Abuse Treatment inside our detention center. What that is, we're trying to stop the recidivism that keeps coming. The same person keeps coming in week after week. They get out, they don't have the resources, they don't have the support, and then they go back to doing the behavior they were doing before. They're not bad people, they just make bad choices. So we've started this program, and what it is we try to get them the resources, a different mindset on how to do their day-to-day living, and put them in, when they leave, then they have the resources they can reach. It's a 120-day program. It's done within our detention center. It does not mean what you're charged with or your crimes will go away, but it's a pathway to change. And that's what we're trying to do, is change this recidivism that just keep coming back. And we did recently graduate. We started with 10. It's not an easy program. We started with 10, and we graduated 5 in our first ever graduation. One of the gentlemen, he is out. He's doing well. I don't know on the other ones. I'll have to check with our coordinator, but I do know he reached out and said that it did open up doorways and avenues for him, and he hasn't been back yet. So right now he's a success. So yes, sir.
One of the ways in which we see, especially nowadays with social media, we're always seeing video of police interactions and law enforcement interactions. What are the rights around recording police interactions?
Well, state of Missouri has a one-party consent, excuse me, where as long as one party knows they're being recorded, you can record. So if I have a body-worn camera, I know it's being recorded, the conversation's being recorded, so I can record you. Where it would be a unconstitutional or illegal would be if I set that body camera down and you and another member were talking and I used that. Nobody knows they're being recorded. But as long as one person in the conversation knows they're being recorded, it's okay to do. Juveniles are different. That's an issue with body-worn cameras. Some of the issues with that. Oh, yes. Okay, I couldn't hear it.
Recently in the media, there's been some backlash about police turning off their body-worn camera for privacy reasons during traffic stops and such. Could you enumerate some law enforcement position on that?
So his questions on turning off body-worn cameras on traffic stops. There's been some stuff in the media. I'm not aware of that, but it's going to be each agency is going to have their own policies and procedures. Right now, the St. Francis County Sheriff's Department does not have the funding for body-worn cameras, so we do not have them. We are looking into that. Our policy will probably have something in there about turning it off. I know we are currently testing different manufacturers and different vendors, and some of them have different features that combat that. But I do know an agency that they have in-car cameras. And one of the procedures they have is if you go on duty and your camera is not working, you will radio the headquarters and let them know. That way, if something should happen, it's not after the fact. So there are policies and procedures out there, but it's going to go agency to agency. Yes, sir.
As far as peaceful protest, how do you guys determine when it turns to like it seems like it'd be a bit of a judgment call, or if there is a peaceful protest, if there's a counter, I don't know if you guys have some sort of like criteria or system before you step in.
That's a good question. Depends on the size. Usually we speak to the head of the protest and tell them, kind of set some boundaries. This is what will be allowed, this will not be allowed. And usually we have a contact. So if something does start to go awry, we can contact that person and they can kind of pull their group back in a little bit. We also monitor social media to find out what other groups are going to be there as counter protesters. We kind of look at the size, and that determines on what our resources are going to be. We haven't had an issue, knock on wood, with that. But to expound on your question on when does it no longer peaceful, well, when we start having laws broke, things set on fire, property damage, that's not peaceful. And that's one of my major roles, is to stop riots and non-peaceful protests. So
I think part of that is the concern that there will be intentional agitators and trying to separate the legitimate from
right. Usually you can spot who the agitator is in that crowd. Like I said, we haven't had really any issues that I can think of. We did have a couple protests downtown Farmington at one time. But it didn't get out of control. And like I said, we had contact with the heads of those organizations and groups.
Yeah, I know it can't be easy.
And that is another kind of conundrum, is we got to allow them to protest. Even if we don't agree with what they're saying, we have to allow them. But then we also have to protect them from anti-protesters. So we're kind of stuck in the middle with that. Yes.
If somebody wanted to go into a career in law enforcement, what would you advise them as far as an educational path?
Well, there is a law enforcement academy here at the college.
How convenient.
But yes, there's a lot of opportunities out there. With some of the defunding of police and some of the backlash we've received in the last couple of years, we saw our numbers drop. So it was easy to go from agency to agency. There was a lot of vacancies. So we're starting to see that turnaround. That pendulum is coming back, and there's some grant opportunities out there. I think there's the Blue Shield grant that helps out, and like I said, here in St. Francis County, we have a law enforcement academy. So you have to get your law enforcement post certification before you can be a police officer in the state of Missouri. So you have to go to an academy. Good plug. Yes, sir. Well, it depends. When you say property, are you talking car, house? Both, okay. And do they have a search warrant? Okay. If they have a search warrant, you're probably going to, that's a court order, you're going to have to let them search. Then you might want to reach out to your legal advisor or your attorney after it. But if they have a search warrant, yeah, they have a court order from a judge allowing them to go into your property and or your vehicle.
What behavior how should he respond?
Well, if they've got a search warrant, you just cooperate. It was what I would recommend, but I'm on the law enforcement side. But and depending what it is, it could be a soft entry where they come up, knock on the door, and just say, "We have a search warrant. Here's what we're looking for." You know, Now, if you've got explosives and things like that could be dangerous, they may, bring a SWAT team or something, a tactical team or something of that nature. But yeah, just cooperate. If they've got the documentation, fighting with them is not gonna work out for anybody. So usually they can talk to you and tell you what it is, and it goes smoothly. Yes, ma'am.
Going back to the mental health side, are you finding now that the officers are being trained more in the mental health? So when they approach somebody's house to de-escalate the situation, do you guys have somebody that you hire to go along with the officers to de-escalate the situation?
Okay.
And if not, do you think that will be helpful maybe in the future? I know money and all that stuff.
So the question is about going to somebody's house that may be having a mental crisis. Do we have anybody trained? All our officers on the Sheriff's Department are trained in the CIT program. There has been talk in the county of a service that would, kind of like an ambulance, would respond to incidents where people are in a mental crisis. But that's not come around yet. There was talks about it, but all our officers are CIT trained, and that looks for everything from autism to mental health issues, crisis, and we have great success with that. Cake time?
Any more questions for Sheriff Kreitz?
Oh. Go ahead.
I'm in this class. Okay. What are some community outreach programs that the St. Francis County Sheriff's Office is doing right now? I mean, this is kind of one right here, but what are like other examples of outreach that you and your department's doing that, let's say, the previous administration not done?
That's a good question. I know we're still continuing, the Shop with the Cop. I think social media is an outreach that I'm using to reach people more, to let them know what the Sheriff's Department's doing, and it gives them some buy-in. I do a thing called Warrant Wednesday. I highlight somebody who has a warrant that we haven't been able to find in a while, and it gives the citizens a chance to be a part of that. Trying to think of some other programs that we have. And I've probably got them, and I just can't think of them right now. But if you could give your name and number to Corbin, I will get those and get back with you. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head just like that. I know we have some other programs. Sorry. Yes. Okay, yeah, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden.
Sheriff, one more thing about traffic stops. When you stop a vehicle, what are your lawful search procedures if you have a suspicion that there's something in the vehicle that
Okay. And that's a tough question because every traffic stop is different. You can't really just say A, B, or C. Just things like impairment, that might lead you to go a little further. The driver's impaired. Well, what's making him impaired or her? Smells, all the senses. You may smell something that's illegal. You may see something in plain view. If you see it in plain view, you can seize it. So I've seen narcotics in the vehicle in plain view, and that leads you to go into the car a little further. Canines, if you start seeing these telltale signs, excuse me, and you have a canine that's working, and the canine does a free air sniff and detects the presence of narcotics, you can go into the vehicle without a search warrant.
So kind of wingspan, if you see something, you have wingspan?
Yes, yeah, you can go a little further if you see something.
Can I ask a follow-up? If there's a canine hit and there's no narcotics, what happens? Like, is the dog taken off duty for?
No. No, they have to go back to certification so many times or certain times of the year or whatever to keep that certification up. Sometimes they'll alert where narcotics have been. So it could have been there an hour ago and the dog alerts because the smell is still there. Just because they don't find anything, it's good for the person. I mean, they didn't get a hit and we didn't find anything. That doesn't happen very often. Sometimes people will admit, yeah, I had it here, or so-and-so had it here, and they got out of my car, and they must have had, their backpack was sitting in the floorboard, and that's what it may have hit on or something.
If there is a pop, does that give them automatic search access to the vehicle?
I believe so, yes. When the dog does alert on positive, that does allow them to go a little further. Now, let's say it hits on the passenger door or that side. That may not give them access to the trunk, but it'll give them right there where that hit was made. And if the dog doesn't find anything, I believe that is documented, so they know.
People can see that as a and this is not a criticism, but if the dog was coaxed into some sort of action, someone could view that as kind of a backdoor to
Yeah, I don't see that happening with ours. Currently we have 5 canines, and they're all doing great work. And when they're hitting, they're finding it.
yeah. I'm thinking more of like on a national level.
Sure.
There are communities or places where that can be kind of, people might be very suspect of.
Yeah, and I can't talk about those. All I can talk about is St. Francis County. Yes.
Any final questions?
Yes.
Okay, back to is there, okay, so do protests actually, affect laws, or is it just a way to spread awareness?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I think a little of both. I think it does bring awareness to whatever they are. I don't want to say maybe protesting, but being out there and being heard. That brings awareness to whatever the cause is. Does it change laws? It might get the legislators to look more at what they're promoting or against. So when they do come up on a law of some sort, they might consider that because they've seen how popular that is or how unpopular it is. So, I mean, it's your voice. If you don't say anything, nothing's ever going to change. So.
All right. Mr.
Thank you.
Again, I want to thank Sheriff Kreitz for taking the time with his busy schedule to be with us, and I thank all of you for your civic engagement, because that's what this is. This is us learning about how the government works and about how we all fit into our society here. I want to thank you all for these questions, and they're grounded in respect and curiosity and our shared commitment to constitutional principles, and they're essential to a healthy democracy. So before concluding today's ceremony, I'd like to remind you that we'll have cake off to the side here when we're done, and please take a slice. The Max Singers will close out today's commemoration with another song from Glory. Glow, that's right. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you guys for being here, and we appreciate Sheriff so much for being here. Thank you, Sheriff Kreitz. We appreciate that. Our last song to close this program is called Carry the Light. The song describes the beauty that's found in each person, and this beauty won't be hidden because it will be used to ignite others. And this inner light that is carried and shared like a beacon to light the way for others so they do not get lost in the dark. This song is mostly in English, but has a short section of Latin, Lux Aeterna, which translates as eternal light. May you carry that eternal light with you always. And God bless America.
Shines in the night. I'll be a beacon that's burning bright. I will carry the light. I will carry the light. Like a candle that shines in the night, I'll be a beacon that's burning bright. I will carry the light. Lux aeterna, 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 the light inside of me. Lux aeterna, 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 will shine eternally. There's a light that's inside that I'm not gonna hide, 'cause that light will make the embers ignite. And the light that's in me will forever be. I will carry the light. Lux aeterna, 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 the light inside of me. Lux aeterna.